Hey everybody, hey BookTube, it's Sweeps Week or something because it's Vlogmas, so I am not wearing my glasses. And I think I might have broke my computer with all of the fast moving stuff. Well, have the last 2 days been wild. I'll tell you why. I finished this one. Boop. Mastermind of Mars. And then I finished A Fighting Man of Mars. And then this morning I finished Swords of Mars. Nah. I don't think I really said anything like what they're about. So, this video is going to be me telling you about these Trey books. Okay? So, I'm super excited right now. Oh, can you believe it? So if one of my eyes starts like going that way, I apologize. So in Mastermind of Mars, as you can see, there's a white gorilla holding a red man. This book was unique in the fact that it opens up during World War I, and there is this group of soldiers in the trenches. A bomb comes down, kills everybody, except this one guy who, when he looks down, he realizes his legs are gone. And as he's looking up in the sky, he sees the red planet that he's read from Edgar Rice Burroughs' books about the exploits of John Carter and all this stuff. And it's like this weird meta stuff. And this isn't the first book to do that. It's kind of the first book in the Barsoom series that does it, but it's done in the Pellucidar series, so that's kind of weird. But anyway, so this guy, basically like John Carter did before him, astral projects himself to Mars as he's laying there dying, and when he comes to, he's whole, like he has his legs and everything's great. He's naked, and this creepy red guy with a giant head and really weird glasses is like ready to kill him, and he jumps and like jumps super high, and he's like, oh my gosh, I must be on Mars. Well, anyway, it turns out that this guy is like a scientist, and what he does to fund the research that he wants to do is when someone gets old, like once they hit like 1,000 years old, he, for a price, will take their brain and put it into the body of a younger, healthier person. And so he has his men go out and capture people all the time, like beautiful people, and then bring them back, and he puts them in a kind of suspended animation. Basically, he embalms them while they're alive with this stuff, and it kind of keeps them from decaying at all or aging. So he's teaching this guy, who, by the way, is named Ulysses Paxson, the ways of how to do this, because because Martians can't read human minds like they could read each other's minds. So he knows everyone around him is like a traitor, basically. And he's like guessing that Ulysses won't try to kill him, but he needs him to put his mind into a younger person's body. And while all this is going on, basically Ulysses falls in love, like love at first sight, with this girl whose brain has been um, taken from her body so this old queen person could have her brain put into her body. And he convinces the guy to wake up the old ugly person because it has the brain of the beautiful girl. And in doing so, he falls in love with her. And this guy here, the ape, half of his brain is ape and half of it's human. Like, it was another one of the weird experiments. So basically, long story short, um, as he's going to do the operation on the scientist, he says, I'll do this and bring you back on the condition that I get to transfer the brain back into the beautiful body, kind of thing. And craziness ensues. Now, this book was kind of interesting because of the group that he was with. And it was a pretty fun book. Ulysses himself, I didn't really like much as a character. In fact, there were a lot of times in the book where I thought, with his human strength, that he could like jump out of the way of certain things and like fuck some shit up, and he was always overpowered and didn't know what to do or where to go. So that's probably more of a Edgar Rice Burroughs problem than of a Ulysses problem, if you know what I mean. But yeah, so that was this. It was pretty good. I recommend it. The next book is A Fighting Man of Mars. This one's pretty chunky compared to the other books in the series. This might be the biggest one, actually, at, let's see here, 239 pages. You guys are like, puss. Yeah, I know. So anyway, and here's the cover of the Del Rey edition. Tan is the guy's name, the warrior. So I'll just give you a brief rundown on the back here. Tan's hunt for the abductors of the woman he loved led him to a conquest-crazed warlord in command of an invincible weapon that threatened to kill all of Barsoom. There was only one defense against it, and the man who held the secret was insane. Now, guys, I know I'm not talking to you, but you're gonna have to just chill out for a little bit. I'm doing a video. The dogs don't like it when I'm talking to somebody who's not like right in front of me. They think I'm talking to them and like being like, "Where are the dogs at? Where's Fred? Where's Giz?" Like I'm like losing my marbles or something. Hi, Giz. So anyway, this book is good and it's bad. The bad bit is the characters I thought were a little flat. But the good thing about this book is the adventure that is in this book is amazing. But it was like dragged down, I think, because of how not like nobody's in it that you know, okay? Um but some of the things that happen, like they get thrown into this river beneath the earth, and they basically go to a place like Pellucidar. Actually, wait a second here. Talk to him. Okay, anyway, so this one is really cool. Can't believe I forgot this. Okay, so basically, there's this guy named Jason Gridley of Tarzana, California, who discovered the Gridley wave. Okay? Now, this is the only other mention of this guy that I ran across so far, besides it was like the third Pellucidar book. They use this Gridley wave to get a message from the people in the center of the earth that tells the story of the book. Well, in this case, I totally screwed that up. I'm sorry, guys. In this case, Ulysses, the other human who is now on Mars, is reciting a tale of this guy named Tan Hadron, like by Morse code through this Gridley wave, and Edgar Rice Burroughs is again thrusted into the story. Ooh, did you guys hear my heater go off? Yeah, with Morse code. I don't know if I said that or not, but anyway. So that's where this story comes from. Now, so he goes underwater and ends up in another, like, under the Earth's crust civilization, but this time on Mars. They're giant lizards they fight, giant spiders that they fight, tribe of cannibals. There's just all this stuff. And it also has one of those situations where there's this warrior fighting beside Tan who ends up being a girl and he thought was a guy the whole time. And the whole idea here is Tan asks this girl to marry him. And she says no and rejects him and embarrasses him in front of everybody. Then the next day she's kidnapped. And so everyone in the kingdom or whatever thinks that he had her kidnapped. And he's like, no, and I'll prove it to you. I'll go get her back, I promise, and all this other crap. So he goes, he rescues this other dude who ends up being a chick. And so now this chick is going to fight with him. And they have invisibility cloaks. They end up with what do they call them? Like a flyer that's invisible for some fucking reason. It's just like there's all this crazy shit, and it has everything. It has everything that would make you think that this would be a great book, but it just fell flat, like with the characters, I think. But gosh, man, everything in this book was like exciting and action packed. But I think because like kind of what the two big twists in the book are gonna be, like them as soon as they're like first like foreshadowed, and the character development is so like blah. And you're just like, fucking hell, come on, people. So anyway, so this was better than Thuvia Made of Mars, which was the fourth book, and but not by a lot. This was just a more interesting book than that. Now, let's get to the nitty grit. Hang on. Okay. Swords of Mars. It's amazing that I even started this as soon as I finished that one, because I was like going, oh my god, I don't know if I could handle more of these books with these like brand new characters that are so flat. Well, this book starts off with, like I said before, John Carter showing up in Arizona to talk to one of his friends to tell him about this adventure they had. And one of the cool things is that something happens in this book, and I don't want to ruin it because this is a really fucking good one. Basically, there's a league of assassins that are trying to like take over Helium, and all of Barsoom. And so John Carter started this like super secret group where they would find the assassins and kill them, and then put an X above their heart, and that was the mark of John Carter's group killing the assassins. Well, all these people keep dying and nothing's really happening, and he feels like he can't trust anybody. So he's like, I'm gonna have to like go to where I think their headquarters is and try to infiltrate them and all this other jazz. So he paints his skin red, goes to this place and acts just like basically a mercenary. And this scientist puts him up at his place. And basically the scientist is creating a rocket ship that would go like anywhere in the solar system, basically. And it's controlled by telepathy. And there's a rival scientist who's been stealing his ideas and trying to beat him into space. And this is so funny because this is like the space race, okay? Like written in like the 20s or something. Wait, when was this written? Let me... 34. I was close. But that's still like, what, 30 years before, 25 years before the space race starts? Actually, probably only like 15. But anyway. So, this book is like nuts. He's killing all these assassins. No one knows who he is. And then he finds out that the big plot that the League of Assassins are putting together is they're going to kidnap Deja Torres, who's his wife, who gets kidnapped all the fucking time, and take her to the nearest moon of Mars until a ransom's been paid, because they have their own ship or whatever. So it's just like nuts. They are doing space travel. They end up on the moon, and there's invisible fuckers and all sorts of other stuff. And then there's like these weird cat eye people, Cyclops dudes, who are really cool. Man, this was a barn burner, guys. Gizmo. Let me see what it says on the back here. Yeah, I don't know. This was great. This was maybe the best book since Warlord of Mars, which was the third one. But I'm on the fence if it's better than Chessmen of Mars. Chessmen of Mars had so many amazing characters in it. But this was great. And if you recall, I gave some bad intel. Oh my gosh, my dogs are so needy for attention. I gave you some bad intel. So the next book is Synthetic Men of Mars. So I'm going to be maybe starting this today. Ooh, look at this big fly guy. Ooh, scary. And then something that was driving me crazy, and I don't know if it has like a table of contents in here. I don't think it does. I think it just starts. Oh wait, no. Because when I've been like reading that Pulp Fiction book, there was all sorts of stuff, like certain like stories about Barsoom, and I'm like, why aren't there books of this? I don't understand. Well, this book, number 10, Lana of Gathol, is actually 4 different novelettes that Edgar Rice Burroughs published in the pulps. And it's The City of Mummies, Black Pirates of Barsoom, Yellow Men of Mars, Invisible Men of Mars. So that's awesome. And then I said that there's John Carter of Mars, and then there's two other ones, the Giant Men of Mars and Skeletons of Jupiter. And that's actually not true. That is all this book. So, John Carter of Mars consists of the two novelettes, or novellas, The Giant Men of Mars and The Skeleton Men of Jupiter. And I'm totally excited to see how the events from Swords of Mars plays into the rest of the books. And I'm also kind of excited because Synthetic Men of Mars supposedly has the scientist from Mastermind of Mars in it. So I'm probably going to jump into that right away. And this picture cracks me up every time I look at it. Why the hell did they put socks on him? And they look like quitters, like they're just going to start falling down around his, like, ankles. It's so ridiculous. Hey, I'm John Carter. Check out my tube socks, yo. I'm rocking the tubes. Because I think in every era of human existence, socks and sandals has always been super cool. Alright, this video is longer than it should be. I'll catch you later. Let me know what you think down below. If you've read